Good afternoon. This is Navy Oldsalt Gamer. Remember to subscribe and like. I am back on mimas, and today I'm going to be fully automating a rocket from launch to landing, unloading, everything. And I'm going to show you how that happens. The first thing I want to cover real quick. When you mine ice in space, it comes back as space ice. It could be volatiles, it could be oxide, it could be anything that you can mine that is ice in space. So the easy way around this, when you want to decide where it goes, when you crush it, is I have this set up with filters. You can also use a sorter if you want to start reading hash codes and stuff with them, but I find this to be easier because I'm only doing volatiles and oxide at the moment. So I crush it, it comes in here. This filter takes out the volatiles and puts them in the tank. Anything that isn't volatiles goes into this filter. This filter sorts out the CO2 and puts that in my CO2 tank over here. And then the only thing that should be left is oxygen, which will get put in my oxygen tank. Now, my first trip that I did in my last episode, I got about 70, and I don't have my scanner with me right now, so I did about 75 kilomoles of volatiles in that tank. So you get a lot from a mining trip. So let's cover a couple things real quick. You need a dial for this. This is set here so you can set the destination code you want, which I'll cover shortly. And you have to have this umbilical lever. This code that I do uses this lever to retract and extend the umbilicals, and you can see that happens with that lever. Now, this program that I have controls that lever, so if you use my program and don't have this lever set up with this IC chip, which is really short, basically it just reads the position and opens and closes them based on the position of the lever. So if you don't have that, I think that's what somebody sent me a message saying the umbilicals weren't closing in my previous one. I think that's why, because they didn't have that lever hooked up. So the only thing that you need for this is the normal rocket stuff, a lever and a dial. I could in the future put like a display or a console here to show which position you're selecting on the dial. Make it a little bit easier, but I haven't done that yet. So let's go in here. For this program, I put in a comment on every line to kind of give an explanation of what that line is doing to try and make it easier to understand. Again, here is my dial. Now the rocket batteries I defined because I have 3 of them, so I want to use them as a batch and get the average total charge. I don't want to read one of them and have that be fully charged and have one not be fully charged. So I read them as a batch, and that's why I defined it. There's the lever that I talked about, the umbilical lever. I want to talk to the rocket engines to turn them on. You don't have to turn them off because when it reaches a destination, it does that. And then the avionics, I got to read and write to those quite a few times. And the rocket miner, so I can turn them on and off. Scanner, so I can turn them on and off. The cargo, so I can turn it on and open the lever to dump it. And the rocket tank, be careful, this is the main tank. You may have more tanks on board. Make sure you get the fuel reserve tank, all of it, you know, the one that you want filled to the max, and address that one, not one of the other tanks. This one is my main fuel tank that I have pressurized to 50 megapascals. So that's a tricky one there. You got to make sure you do the right tank. Okay, so we're at the start of the program. Now this program, I figured from the landing point to the next takeoff point, or it works that way, plus it also works while it's sitting here until you do the lever. So this, no matter what you do, this will be fine. And there's the umbilical lever. So first thing I want to do is make sure that's extended. Then I sleep 5 seconds. I do sleeps in here quite a few times just to give things time to do what it needs to do. Like here, give it 5 seconds to extend the umbilicals. Then I check the rocket cargo and turn it on. Then I open it. And then I read the ratio of what is in the cargo. That'll either be, it'll be a number between 0 and 1. 1 is full, 0 is empty. So if it's not empty and it's greater than 0, then it's going to keep going back to start until it's completely unloaded. You don't want to go up to space with a partially full cargo. You're just wasting fuel at that point. Then once that clears, once it's 0, it'll come down here and check the battery ratio, which is it charged or fully charged. Again, any number between fully charged, which is 1, and 0, which is no charge. So once this equals 1, it'll pass on, because if it doesn't equal 1, or it's less than 1, it'll go back to start. And this will keep looping until the battery's fully charged. Then I check the rocket tank pressure. And again, I have 2 tanks, so I've batched it, and this is the average. So what's the pressure? If it's not 50 megapascals, then you're not fully charged. Go back to start and wait until your system fully charges the tank. Now here's the tricky part, the destination codes. This is going to be the hardest part to understand, and hopefully I explained it good enough for you. I do sleep 10 seconds on both sides of this to give you time to change the dial. I don't want, if you're at dial 0 and you want to go to dial 2, I don't want you to move the dial from 0 to 2 and have it accidentally read dial 1 while you're sitting on it. So I give it a sleep here to give you time to, for example, go from 0 to 2, and then it reads it correctly as 2. That has been working fine. I may at a later date add a button, but then that takes the automation out of it. So that's why I did it this way. I don't see any other way to do it. You just have to wait. So from the time you turn the dial to the time it launches could be as long as 30 seconds. But it will launch. I've tested that portion of it. So if the dial, there's 2 ways you can loop this whole thing and keep the rocket here. You can set the dial to 0, or you can have it set to something that isn't defined. I have it set to 3. Since it's on 3, well, it doesn't go anywhere, then it goes to start. So it's just going to keep looping here till I set the dial. Now, you can also set it to 0, whatever your choice is. You can define this however way you want. You can have as many dial settings as you can fit. I got quite a bit of code left. There you go. So that should be plenty to, once you want to, if you want to go to every location. I'm not sure if I will ever do that. But at this point, I have volatiles and oxygen that I'm working on. So if I set this to 2, okay, it's going to go to dial 2. So dial 2, it sets the rocket avionics to destination code 22010112, which is where my oxides are. That's where I'm going this time. Where do you get this number from? You got to come over here. And don't ask me why Stationeers did it this way. There's where my oxides are. I know that because I've surveyed this place when I did the volatiles. So if you click on the place that you want to go to, you have to do this once to find the destination code and enter it in that code there. There's the destination code. Like I said, don't ask me why Stationeers did it this way. Go to the first significant digit and ignore all the rest of it. Don't need those zeros. There's 22010112. That's the destination code that I entered. No dashes. You just merge that number together. Don't know why they did it that way. So there's the destination code for dial 2, 2201, and that sets that. Then it goes to ready to launch. First thing I want to do is retract the umbilicals, or you'll rip them right out of your launch pad. So I set that to 0, that dial, and that automatically by the other IC code retracts them. And then I sleep 10 seconds to give them a time to retract. This is where the other 10 seconds to launch. But you can see these retract, and you can actually watch for 10 seconds or whatever you want to do just to make sure it launches. Then I turn the rocket engines on, which equals launch. And then I sleep 5 here because I want to give the, if it turns it on, I want to give time for the destination time to update. Sometimes if it's no tick in here at all, it'll check the destination time and it'll still equal 0. So I give it 5 seconds to make sure it doesn't equal 0. Because if the program jumps down here and equals 0, it's going to say, oh, I've reached my destination. That's going to really screw things up. So that solves that issue. You sleep there, the destination time updates, which is the ETA on your computer display, the ETA in seconds. So it reads that, and it says, is that 0? And if it's not 0, it's just going to go back to destination wait. So this is going to keep looping until your rocket arrives at the destination. When it arrives, now you have to check, is it scanned? Do you need to scan it? And this is where it happens here. I set the rocket avionics mode to mode 3, which is the equivalent of hitting the survey button on the computer. Then I turn the rocket scanners on. Then I load the rocket avionics survey. What this is the percentage that section is scanned or surveyed. That's where you hit the minor button and you can, you get 100 gives you one thing, and then 1,000 gives you the 25% bonus. I want to mine it to 1,000 because I want that bonus. Now 1,000% in float is 10. So if it's greater than 10, it's completely scanned. If it's -1, there's nothing there to scan. That is just in case you reach the edge of the map where there's nothing that you need to scan. Or you've already scanned it and there's nothing more to scan or something along those lines. If there's nothing to scan, it returns a -1. So if it's not fully scanned and there is more to scan, it's going to jump back up here. So it's going to keep scanning until this percentage gets to 1,000 or greater, actually greater than 1,000. And once that is completely scanned, it's going to go to start mining. Start mining, I turned the rocket cargo on. Now remember, every time it reaches a destination, it turns almost everything off, including the cargoes, any regulators you have. You got to make sure all that stuff is still on. So I turn the rocket cargo back on. I set the rocket avionics to mode 2, which is the equivalent of hit the mine button. And I turn off the scanners because I don't need those anymore. And then I load the avionics total quantity. That total quantity is the number of ores left at the site. You'll be able to see that. It's either going to be 20,000 or something high, and then once you completely mine it out, it goes to 0. It doesn't subtract as you go. I don't know why it doesn't do that. But it's either going to be a high number or 0. So when it's 0, that means it's totally mined out. Well, there's nothing there to mine. Go home. If it's not 0, then I turn the rocket miners on. And then I load the rocket cargo ratio, which is a number between 0 or 1, 1 being full, 0 being empty. So it's going to be either 0, 1, or digital, 0.50 if it's half full. So is it full? Does it equal 1, or is it less than 1? If it's less than 1, it's not full. Loop until it's full. Once it's full, return home. I turn the rocket miners off. I set the rocket avionics to mode 1, which is normal navigation. I Set the rocket avionics destination code to 4012. Now, where did I get that 4012 from? Back to the map. If I click on my launch site, 4012, that's destination 4012. So that's why I put 4012 there, because that returned it to the launch site. All right, so where am I here now? There. Set the destination code to 4012. I sleep 10 for the same reason, to give the destination code time to update. That'll be invisible to you, but it'll be, if you're really watching, it may take a 10-second pause in there, but you probably won't even notice it. And then I turn the rocket engine on, and I sleep to 5 again to all the destination time updates. And then I'm checking if it's home or not. So I read the rocket avionics time to destination, pretty similar to above. And if it's not 0, then I'm not home. Keep looping until that's 0. That means I've landed. Re-extend the umbilicals, sleep till they're extended, and then start the whole process all over again. So there you go. I hope that was understandable for you. If you look at it long enough, if it's not, you'll be able to figure that out. But neither here nor there. So I'm going to turn that on, which shouldn't affect anything. And then you can see everything should be ready to go. I've been sitting here. It should be charged. The cargo I know is empty. This is at 50 megapascals. So everything's ready to go. So I should just be able to go down 1 to 2. It may take a few, like remember, 30 seconds or so. You'll see the umbilicals retract when those 2 sleeps are bypassed. While that's doing that, one of the things I hate about Stationeers level is this. You can't be outside because you get stinky pants. There goes the umbilicals. So now, in 10 seconds, this should launch. And 10 seconds. There we go. So it launched automatically. And if we go in here, notice where it set the destination to the correct spot. So if I go to the rocket, this is the ETA, the time to destination I was talking about. Not this number here, this one. And what other numbers are important? I don't think there's anything else other than the destinations. Now I can cover the location real quick. That 1000% is going to be this number that's right here. Notice that destination has not been scanned, so the rocket should automatically start scanning and then automatically start mining when it arrives. So to shorten this video, I'm going to pause this. I'll leave the cursor there and I'll pause it until I get closer. Okay, so like all good plans, my filters are running out. And it just gave me a warning. So I still got time to get there, but I got to go change my filter. I'll stay with you here so you know I'm not taking shortcuts. But it'll be probably surveying by the time I get back. I did everything real well except monitor my filters. So let's go in here. Let's put this away. Take my suit off. Maybe I'll get less stinky pants. And make... I'm going to have to find the ores for it. I need a nitrogen medium. Silver constantan. Constantan I think is over here. Yep. Silver is here. Ooh, that's enough. What else did I need? Oh, that's all I need. Oh no, I need iron. Iron is right there. Okay. Sorry about this, but I need to have one of these. And can I do medium? Oh, look at that. I never did it that way before. Medium carbon dioxide.
Hydration critical.
And of course, Stationeers level. I may have to, I don't know if I have enough food. I may have to eat a cereal bar here. Yep, I do. Oh, only need one of those. Okay, so that's taken care of. Let's put that there. Then I could put that there. There. Open that. Put the nitrogen there. Put the carbon there. Okay. Now I'm not going to die. I'll just leave that there. Now, unfortunately, if there was a problem, which I don't think there will be, it should be surveying now. And I'll just log into the computer and show you that. Alright, so let's open that. Go to location. Oh no, it's still not there yet. Oh, I did that faster than I thought. Okay. That works then. We got 25 seconds till arrival, so that was kind of handy. And I always get this error when I start the computer. It's not out of fuel. I've never run the rocket out of fuel. I don't know why it does that. The error in their programming. Okay, so now I go to location. It's automatically scanning. There's that percentage. It's 0, so it's not 1,000. So it now is looping in that scanning section. Now this is going to take probably 5 to 10 minutes. So I'm going to pause this. And there's the percentage. So that has to get to 1,000 before it goes to the next step. I like to go to 1,000. You could change that number if you just wanted, to go to 100. But I like that 25% bonus because that's going to be the difference in the long run, depending on the richness. Usually, you'll start out a really high number, and then it'll go down to like 13. But if you got the 25% bonus, you'll be getting 17 per sweep for each one. And that adds up over time. So, all right. So this is going to take a while. I'm going to pause it again. Okay, so I'm back. I'm at 870. I've spent a significant time inside the rehydrated, re-ate, and I'm still stinky pants. Very annoying on stationeers. I think they need... I could put a shower in, I guess, and that would instantly get rid of that. But then I'd have to put a filter in and filter the polluted water to get it back into my system. So, I guess I could do that. Maybe I'll do that next. So I'm waiting for this to get above 1,000. At that point, it should automatically switch to mining. And as you can see now, this is a pretty good number, but the richness goes down way too fast. And I really wish they'd fix that. Now I know they're coming out with a mining and rocket update and trading update. I don't know when all that will be released, but this is kind of a, I guess in my opinion, an unpopular system, the rocket mining method. So that's why I wanted to automate this, so I don't have to stand here and watch all this stuff. And should switch this scan to mining. And there we go. I'm mining. Now I'm getting 55 ores per sweep. That's going to go down real fast because this number's going to go down. There's 54. So that's a good number, but by the time my cargo is full, this number is going to be probably 17-ish. 301%, yeah. So 12 plus, because the baseline is 12. So 12 plus 25%, so around 17, yeah. 16 or 17. You see how fast this goes down. Way too fast. Way, way, way too fast. I've only got 5 now. So if I go to the rocket and go to storage, where's the ratio? Now it takes a little bit to update because There it goes. Some of the ores seem to hang out in the chutes on the rocket. I don't know why, but so there's the ratio. You see it's 0.02. That has to get to 1 to get to the next step. That's when the rocket is full. So I should actually have 9 ores, and it's only registering 3. So there's some in the chutes. Do that, it's behind a little bit. I don't know. That's okay. So I'm going to pause it again while this finishes mining, and then we'll see if it comes back and unloads the way it's supposed to. I'll be back. So as you can see, I'm not even, well, I'm just now halfway done. And the ore is down to 17 because the richness has reached 1, which is as low as it'll get. So that's why this getting it to 1,000 is pretty important, because otherwise I'd be getting 12 ores a sweep instead of 17. So, 10 more ores a sweep, roughly. 12, yeah, 10 more ores a sweep. So, that adds up over time, because 17 per sweep is now pretty slow. So it really slowed down. And I wish they would fix this. I mean, I'm not even 2,000 into this 20,000 total. That's the number I told you about. Estimated ore at location. That'll be 0 once this gets completely mined out. Or once this density, is it the density or the size? Something goes to 0. I'm not sure which. But anyway, that number goes to 0 once there's nothing left to mine. So here I sit. The rocket is currently at almost half. So I'll pause it and I'll be back. Okay, so I figured out something why I have 44 ores, but it's only saying I have 38, and that is because my chute condition is open. So it filled up all the chutes from the exit location of the cargo to the chute hookup. So all my chutes are full of, which is fine. That's good. All my chutes are full of ore also now. So that is why I have the discrepancy of having 45 mined and only having 39 in my quantity. And now it's 40. You see, it's 80% now. But I was sitting here wondering why that is. I said, oh, is my chute lever open? And my chute lever is open. You can manually close out. You can leave it open. What's the difference? You get more ores this way. As long as when it lands, it doesn't dump ores out. I don't think it will. We'll have to see. That's a good question. I don't think it will. But we'll find out when the rocket lands. And it doesn't seem to be dumping it out now in space, because it is going up. So I think we'll be okay until the chute connects at the launch site. So I'm up to 41. It'll be a few more minutes, and I'll be back. Okay, so I'm now at 49. So at 50, this will become 1. Mining should shut down, and in a short time later, the rocket should fire. So we'll see how this goes here. And of course, at 17 ores per sweep. 34 really. Any second. Go to 50. 50. I know if I switch the location, it's going to update, and then I'm going to miss it. There we go. Okay. So now the new destination should be set. It is. And the rocket is waiting those seconds that I have time. There we go. So now the rocket is on its way home. Because the destination is the rocket launcher, and the rocket is returning home. Rocket miner is Unpowered. Well, okay, you don't need to tell me that. I unpowered it on purpose. Shut up. But anyway, so I'm going to pause this because this is 250 seconds. That'll be longer as it lands here. So I'll return when it's in this area, and we can watch and make sure it lands successfully. But everything seems to be working. Once it reaches the destination, that'll be turned off. But it did turn the miners off. It did turn the miners off, so that part of the code worked. And how's my fuel? I'm good. No problems. Things are pressurizing correctly, so we're good. I'll be back when that gets closer to in this area. Okay, so I'm on final approach to landing. I got about a minute left, maybe a little longer. There's the altitude. My throttle is good. If that number was 100, I'd be in big trouble. But I'm not too heavy. Of course, mimas has very low gravity. You only need 8 kilonewtons to fight gravity here, so we're good. I'm at 3,000. I should be able to see it if I look up. Somewhere there it was. Where are you? Sometimes if you, there it is, right above the white dot. There we go. Sometimes if you move the cursor, you can see it easier. But that's going to be coming down. There it is. You see how you can, if you move the cursor, it appears clearer. I don't know why that is. But that is true until it gets to a lower point. And that looks like we're just about there now. So now when this lands, if the program works, that lever will close, the umbilicals will extend, and it'll unload the cargo first, and then it'll make sure the batteries are charged, and then it'll sit and wait for it to be refueled, because I'm pretty sure that's going to be the longest step. So let's see if all this is going to go as planned here. And we've landed, and there goes the umbilicals. So now we've gone back to start, so the whole process is starting over again. So this should be unloading. The pressure's at 25, so that's going to take a while. And I have ice over here, so it is unloading. Now this might take a little while. I have to find my toolkit. It's in this, isn't it? No, this. There it is. Tried to clear that up a little bit so it would be easier to see. So I got, as planned, oxygen and carbon in there. The pressure's good. And I have it over here. So it is coming in. That should be going up ever so slowly.
Hydration critical.
Of course, Stationeers mode. And that should be going up slowly. Although this may be going down because I'm draining it for fuel right now. So that may actually be going down. Okay, so it's taking a little bit longer here to filter. That is on, isn't it? Nope, it helps to turn it on. Yeah. That was off, wasn't it? Is it filtering now? Yeah. Okay. Oops. So now there is a tiny tick of nitrogen in there. That's been in there since I've set the tanks up. But this is still going down. That pressure's good. That pressure is the tank. That pressure is still going up. That's making me nervous. It's taking longer to filter the CO2 out. That's getting way too high. So I may have to work on my recycling area a little bit. I'm going to turn that off. I guess the easiest way to do that at this angle is to cut the cable. Cut the cable before it blows up on me. Okay. So I guess it takes longer. I'll have to put some pressurization monitoring on there. Oop. to filter the CO2 out. Maybe I should reverse that. That is not running. It doesn't appear to be running. It's not going
Waste
down.
tank caution.
Everything's going out of whack here. Oh, I have no power to it. Oh, for God's sakes. Got a wee bit ahead of myself. The stupid mistakes that you can do in this game that will really cost you are just amazing sometimes. There we go. Well, that was an honest oopsie mistake that you saw. Now it should be going down. And it is. So now I can reconnect that wire. That just makes me chuckle. There we go. It's running. That's good. All right. So this should be filling back up. And I wanted to use that. And it is. Hopefully that doesn't go too high. Because this is definitely going up now. Yeah, we're good there. That's good. Okay, so I don't have any pressurization problems now that I got the power hooked up. So it did unload. The battery should be charging. Let's check the rocket battery. It'll be this battery. It's already charged. So it's past that step now. So now it's just waiting for this to reach 50, which is going to take a while. So it looks like it's going to work pretty well. I will pause this until this gets close to 50. Like I said, it's going to take a little while. And that little bit of nitrogen in the tank, by the way, is being filtered out as it goes in here. I didn't want to mess up. I hooked up the tank wrong, and I got a tiny bit of nitrogen, 0.017, in my oxygen. And I got a little bit of oxygen. That's when I changed the pipes around. So all that's going to be disappearing. It's a minuscule amount in comparison with everything. You see the volatiles are going down now because I'm using them. And CO2 should be going up. And it's probably going up really slowly. And that's going down, so that's leveling out. That's good. Everything's good over here now that I got the power hooked up. So, I'll be back. I'll pause it, and we'll see. Now I'm dying of thirst. And I'll come back when that pressurizes. I won't touch anything. I'm going to leave it at 2, so it should go up and get more oxide. And I'll be back. Okay, start the video because I'm very close and I don't want to miss it. By the way, you can get the tank that you want to monitor. That's the prefab hatch. So I actually had the wrong one entered there at one point, and I corrected that. So if you want to know which one you want to monitor, it's right there. Make sure you define that to that number. And I'm at 49.5. 49.6. 49.7. I'm going to turn this off when it gets to about 49.9. Watch to make sure everything happens the way it's supposed to here. So there's 49.9. Now, when it gets to 50, it should start the launch sequence. Theoretically. This has never been tested. I left the dial to 2. So the dial hasn't been touched. It should be set and ready to go back to where it came from. Now, it may take again 20-30 seconds just to see if it is at 50. It stopped fueling, so that's a good sign. There it goes. So there we go. Now another 10 seconds before launch, and it'll go up and repeat that whole process all over again, completely automated. There you go. All set by this dial. And that's a little close. And it did not rip my umbilicals off. That's something I was concerned about since some people seem to be having problems with that. And now my oxygen should be recovering. It's going up pretty fast. And I used roughly 20 kilomoles to fuel that. Let's make sure this is turned off. It has. Okay. So everything's safe. Nothing exploded. Rocket's back up in the air. There you go. Now when it comes back, I'm going to go to 1. I want to get volatiles again. So I'm going to switch this. You can do this anytime after launch. To 1. So now when it comes back, it'll go back to that volatile site and do a mining there because I'm going to be in need of volatiles at that point. And I'll probably rest it for a while because I'll have enough. Maybe I'll do some ores. I have an ore bunch here. And there's a rocket proceeding. So I don't want to touch anything, but I got an ore site there. And I could go over here and scan because I don't want to mess with the map because I don't want to deselect something. But I have stuff over this side that I can still scan and look at too. But there you go. That's it. And there's a successful test of a completely automated rocket from start to finish. It worked perfectly. And I shall see you in the next episode.